been no reports of damage or casualties. Reuters is reporting that Indonesia has issued a tsunami warning for parts of the country. We are monitoring developments, and we will bring them to you as soon as they come in. Now, Apple's battle with the FBI, that's now playing out on Capitol Hill, and the tech giant's argument is very clear. Everyone's privacy is at stake. A top lawyer told American lawmakers that Apple is, quote, in an arms race with cyber criminals, but the FBI insists its demands are reasonable as investigators try to crack a terrorist's iPhone. CNN Money's Jose Pagliari has more.
Hi, Christy. So today, members of Congress finally got a chance to weigh in on this Apple versus FBI debate, which is really about whether or not the FBI can force Apple to write code so that the FBI can break into the iPhone 5C of one of the dead San Bernardino shooters. Take a listen.
There's already a door on that iPhone. Essentially, we're asking Apple, take the vicious guard dog away. Let us try and pick the lock.
We can all agree this is not about access to one iPhone. The FBI is asking Apple to weaken the security of our products. Hackers and cyber criminals could use this to wreak havoc on our privacy and personal safety.
Now, the FBI director made very clear that if the FBI gets its way, this will create precedent. Law enforcement around the country will be able to pressure Apple to help them solve criminal cases too. The worry here is that if the FBI does not get its way, we've allowed for the creation of safe spaces, safe havens for criminals where everyone from terrorists to child pornographers will know that when they put their data on the phone, it's protected from law enforcement. Now, Apple's attorney, their top attorney, said that this isn't the case because if the FBI gets its way, it won't really stop terrorists. Terrorists and other criminals will merely get their phones from abroad. Other companies overseas are not, affected by U.S. laws. And they can even use easy-to-get apps like Signal or Telegram that mask the data they're using and encrypt it, thus protecting it from law enforcement. What is clear, though, is that at this point, Congress knows that they've got to weigh in. The right place to answer this question is Congress, not the courts, because this applies to every American citizen and answers how much privacy and security they're essentially allowed to have on their devices.
And that was CNN's Jose Pagliari reporting there. Now, Apple insists this is not a one-off case, and a dangerous precedent could be set. And I put that claim to information security expert Bryce Boland.
If you look at this as a precedent as well, it's unheard of for the US government to ask a private company to build a technology to defeat their own security. And the broader implications of that, of course, would be that non-US technologies would be favored in the market. They would have a huge impact on the US economy, and that technology-based economy is enormously important for the US in terms of both its hard and soft power projection.
So that would put the United States at a competitive disadvantage. I also have to ask, why is it that the FBI needs to ask Apple to weaken its security? Because, in the post-Snowden era, a lot of people out there, we were kind of under the assumption that if the U.S. government wants access to data, mobile data, they'll be able to get it without asking for a company's permission.
Well, this is a pretty interesting case. In this example, the specific phone had the ability to be backed up to the iCloud. Unfortunately, the FBI directed that the iCloud password be changed, and as a result, they're not able to get a recent iCloud backup, which would enable them to do that type of forensics. Instead, they're asking for this specific new operating system to be built to enable the FBI to bypass the encryption protections and to gain access to the code that way. Of course, creating this tool is very, very dangerous. Not only would other governments want it, but criminals would also want it, and the chances of them getting hold of it are fairly good.
And separately, I have to ask you about this interesting case out of Brazil involving a Facebook executive. This Facebook executive has been detained for failing to comply to court orders to hand over a user's account data from a WhatsApp account. WhatsApp, of course, being part of Facebook. This is information in relation to a drug trafficking investigation in Brazil. Are we going to see this happen more and more? Just governments around the world strong-arming tech companies to say, hand over your user data?
I think we absolutely are. In fact, one of the arguments, I think, for Apple in this case is the fact that other governments could strong-arm them into giving up the same technology. And we've seen this also with Microsoft making the same argument about why they shouldn't give up access to information in their data centers in Europe to the United States government. There'd be nothing to stop other governments demanding the same about data centers in the United States. So we need to look at this as a much broader issue. It's not just about one particular case, one particular phone. It's really about the broader needs of security and how we use that security in our modern economies.